Hello, I'm Pastor Dave, the pastor of New Life, a Global Methodist Church in State College. Now, this is our sermon recap to help refresh your memory of the sermon from this week as you seek to apply the message to your life and as you work through those next step questions from the insert. Now, this week we looked at Jeremiah chapter 29, verses 11 through 14. And in this passage, we have the prophet Jeremiah speaking about God's plans for Israel as they return from Babylon. This is part of our summer series of looking at church phrases that aren't actually in the Bible. And this week, we're looking at the phrase, God works in mysterious ways. Now, like all these phrases we've looked at this summer, they really do say more about us than they ever do about God. And that's especially true of this phrase, because it's not really saying anything about God, but more about our human condition. Because when we think about ourselves as people, we know that there is a limit to human understanding. Just thinking about the advancements in science in this world, and how what was once thought correct has been disproven. It's found to be incorrect. And that is because as we gain knowledge and as technology has improved, we've been able to verify things. Some things are true, and some things we found were incorrect. At least about our physical universe. And this is kind of the same when we look at God. Because there's a limit to what we can know, observe, and understand. And we also have to remember that people have free will, which means not everything that happens is God's will. This is especially true when we're dealing with evil actions and events. God cannot be the source of evil. That is contrary to the divine nature. So we have to be able to explain those things as other than God working in a mysterious way. Because it's not God's work, it's the work of people. And even when people act contrary to God's plan, we need to remember that God finds a way to work even when people resist. God can still act within a bad situation. God can react to people's poor choices and actions and try to make something work from it. And the Babylonian exile is one of the great examples of this, kind of what Jeremiah was referring to. He was speaking of their response. But if you look at why it happened in the first place, there's no mystery to why it happened. It was a response to human rebellion. Even if people didn't understand it at the time, that is what it was. When it comes to how we react to how God works, just because it is not how we expect something to happen does not make it mysterious. That just seems like an easy way of, or even a lazy way of trying to explain what happened. And instead, it really should be an opportunity to learn more about God and draw closer to God instead of just writing off the event by saying it's a mystery. Not saying there aren't mysteries, but everything we call a mystery may not be one. And it all comes down to faith. Part of faith is trusting God even when we do not understand. It is trusting God and that God will do what is ultimately best and learning more about God than just writing off divine actions with a phrase. So there you go. Hopefully that helps refresh your memory of the message. If you would like, you can re-watch the service on Facebook for the next 30 days, assuming it all went well, since at the time of this recording, we haven't worshipped out the vineyard yet. But if all goes well, we will also be posting it on YouTube. But as always, we do worship at 10 a.m. Hopefully this next Sunday, we will be back at the Center Learning Community Charter School, located at 2643 West College Avenue in State College. If not, we will make sure everyone knows by posting on our Facebook page and sending out emails as well. But we also stream on Facebook. We post the sermons and other things on YouTube. But until next time, I'm Pastor Dave, and I hope you find a way to apply God's Word into your life this week.